Order, order. So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. And outfit. Order, order, order. Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 PM on the day of the crime, the man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is... well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't good. Fucking Edgeworth. Well, well. It seems you've finally realised exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defence has already done the explaining for me. The victim is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department on 5:50 on the day of the crime. So the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot. At the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment of the defendant used the murder weapon. Ah! A fatal blow. I object. I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered, and where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. And just so, Your Honour. Mr. Wright, you have to do something, or else Lana... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this? I'll object. Objection! One moment, Your Honour. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Also, I find it weird that the Blue Badger somehow censored every single thing that happened. Also, we never saw the victim walk back in front of the camera. How? However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Oh yeah. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honour? If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honour. The prosecution considered the incident in the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean... Your Honour, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh? Whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name? Oh, whoa. Oh, wow, so I can actually call anybody. Goodman! No. Jake Marshall. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let him know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witnesses... whatever. Supponed. No idea what that word is. Whatever. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is recess. Okay. Whew. She looks pissed. I didn't do anything. You crazy bitch. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you've figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana? You're the one who knows everything. Emma? You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Oh my god. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Oh, his sad face. Oh, Detective Gumshoe. What is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, Detective. You better be, pal. Hey. 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 I didn't see you there, Miss Sky. That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked? Oh. Oh ho. Oh ho ho. Oh ho ho ho. Oh my god. You mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Oh. Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident. But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you. The chief prosecutor were a witness in that case. Miss Sky was a witness? Oh. God, we're on to like the third page. Fourth page. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now that I've brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma, but why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana? This SL9 incident, is that? That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as... the Joe Dark Killings. The Joe Dark... No. No, Lana. That's over with. No! Whoa, what the fuck? Emma, wait! She ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Why did Emma run away? Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth... Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you, you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I better take a good look at this file. Hey! Do-do-do-do-do. Yeah! Oh my. Yeah. That's a lot of stuff. Oh my god, it's Wright and Edgeworth. God damn. So, the trial will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Marshall. Oh my god, we're gonna watch him shaving. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Oh my god, this song. Me, partner? I'm just a man same as you. Wandering the trails of civilization. Or trails. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind. Never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. What the fuck? Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In English. Sure thing, partner. Okay. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent travelling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Okay. Can't say I particularly care for your attitude. Can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, about the fingerprint activated locks inside the evidence room? Fingerprint activated locks. What kind of newfangled doohickey are those? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses, now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Great. Day of the crime. Keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. Supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Security says blah blah. So that's where he's saying he was. What could I present? No. I mean, it says it's found in the evidence room, but we don't know what time that was at. I mean, that's the only thing I could really think to kind of fob off on him. Sure. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at a crime scene? The blood was wiped away, however, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall, it seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime. Oh my god, I need a drink. My fucking throat is on fire. So, blood-stained fingerprints. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. Yeah, I don't see that happening. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. So the witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Can you feel it, Mr. Krabs? Now's my chance to prove it. God, he's such a suave motherfucker. You know, shaving. Using a knife. That's because you... how did you put it? Pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never changed. He must have been using the fingerprint lock without even knowing it. Okay. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine, it's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened... yeah, it just so happened. That seems really unlikely. The chances of that happening are a million to one. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. Just that the chances of that not happening are a million to one. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward for me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? How can you know that? Unrelated. They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. He's right, although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. I did not know the murderer was wearing gloves. How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a blood stain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. That's a good point. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. That was when I was having a lot of difficulty with blowing away the aluminium powder. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place his hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. It's the only logical conclusion. You're starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood. In the desert, it's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? That wasn't there before. Press! What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The flaw isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, he could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Sure. My only idea is the fact there's a cloth. coming out of the what is it? Coming out of his locker. It's been in there in every single screenshot and we don't know what it is. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Mistaking the maker. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness. Officer Jake Marshall. I mean, I need a good look at the locker. Whee! Oh shit, now I see. I didn't know that. Yeah, there's Meekins. So yeah, you can see there's nothing in the locker. I love how that just completely covers up his, what is it? Face. And there's Meekins. Knocked the fuck out. There it is! Oh, snap. Bringing our attention back to the security camera. It's a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Your locker. See this locker that has a white cloth sticking out? This is the witness's locker. Why is the judge saying that? Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh my god, could it do it quicker? Although, this is the perfect time to have a drink. Oh, the white cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Oh! Hold your horses, sorry partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was opened? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. I think you find it does. It wasn't already open. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? Really? He might not know that they're fingerprinted. And he just assumes they open as they normally would, because he hasn't tried anybody else's locker, he's only tried his own, which is registered to his own fingerprint, which means it would open any time he tried it. Aha! I should really breathe. Whew! This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. Ugh, I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker? Now prove it. Okay. Where's the evidence locker? Yeah, we have 4 bloody pages. Each locker is unlocked using a detective's fingerprint. A light indicates open boxes. Pardon me. Fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There's even some people in the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. Oh. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say, in 8 words or less? Does he have a breakdown? Oh my god, he does. Oh. I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! If he just got shot. Damn. Order, order, order. Witness, explain yourself. Is this a joke? If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole! Please answer the question. What is she now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. You can? Have a look at these floor plans. Wait, when the hell did we get these? I don't remember when we got them. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right, the only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where could he be? Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? It's the only place he could have been. Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. He didn't see his face, though. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When he entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realised the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. Can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. You said that already. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence? Any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. It seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? Bam, bam, bam. It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Nick, try thinking outside the box. Ah, fuck's sake, not this again. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chances it might be discovered later as it had been. Or has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that.